The desperate coal commander, Alina Vasquez, stood at the observation deck of the Galactic Union's central station, watching another star system die. The brilliant white light of the Kepler system dimmed and flickered like a dying candle before vanishing completely into the endless darkness of space that made 47 systems consumed by the void swarm in just 3 months. Alina pressed her hand against the reinforced glass, her reflection showing the exhaustion that plagued every being in the galaxy. Dark circles rimmed her brown eyes, and her once perfectly maintained uniform now bore the wrinkles of countless sleepless nights. As Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Union, she had watched civilization after civilization fall to an enemy that defied all understanding. The doors behind her hissed open, and High Chancellor Zerion entered the observation chamber. The ancient Altarian moved with the grace of his people, his crystalline skin reflecting the starlight in patterns that spoke of deep worry. Zerion had ruled the Galactic Union for over 3 centuries, guiding 47 different species through wars, plagues, and cosmic disasters. Yet nothing had prepared him for the void swarm. Another system lost, Zerion said, his voice carrying harmonics that human ears could barely detect. The Drakmori homeworld and all its 12 billion inhabitants consumed in minutes. Alina turned. From the window, how many refugees did they save? Perhaps a few thousand. The evacuation ships barely escaped the system before the swarm arrived. Zerion moved to stand beside her, his 7-foot frame towering over the human woman. Alina, we need to discuss something that pains me greatly. She had been expecting this conversation. The Galactic Union was dying, and Earth was the only major civilization that remained untouched by the void swarm. Not because humanity was particularly powerful, but because they lived on the outer rim of the galaxy, far from the swarm's current path of destruction. You want Earth to send ships, Alina said. Our entire fleet. We are desperate, Zerion admitted. The Tylorian armada was destroyed yesterday. 50 dreadnoughts and their escort fleets gone in an engagement that lasted 12 minutes. The void entities absorbed their energy weapons and grew stronger from each destroyed vessel. Alina walked to the tactical display table that dominated the center of the chamber. A holographic map of the galaxy rotated slowly, red zones marking areas consumed by the swarm. The red covered nearly 2/3 of galactic space now, spreading like a cancer through the spiral arms. Our fleet consists of maybe 40 ships, Alina said quietly. Compared to what you've already lost, that's nothing. I know, Zerion replied, but we have nowhere else to turn. The void swarm will reach the core worlds within 2 weeks. After that, they will spread to the outer rim. Earth will not be safe forever. Alina studied the tactical display. The void swarm was unlike any enemy the galaxy had ever faced. They appeared as massive clouds of dark energy that could phase in and out of normal space. Their touch drained the life from planets and converted matter into pure destructive force. Ships that engaged them simply vanished, their energy absorbed. To make the swarm stronger, I'll send a message to Earth Command, Alina said finally. But I can't promise they'll agree to sacrifice our entire fleet for what might be a hopeless cause. Zerion's crystalline features shifted in what humans had learned was an expression of gratitude. Thank you, Alina. Your people have always been unpredictable. Perhaps that unpredictability is what we need now. 3 days later, Alina received Earth's response. She read the message 3 times before believing what she was seeing. Instead of committing their entire fleet, Earth was sending exactly 1 ship. The Use Prometheus, commanded by Captain Marcus Chen. Alina had never heard of either the ship or the captain. "One ship?" Zarian asked when Alina showed him the message. "Surely this is an error." "I don't think so," Alina replied, studying the brief technical specifications included with the message. "According to this, the Prometheus is ... large, much larger than anything in Earth's known fleet." The Alterian leader's skin flickered with patterns of confusion. "How large?" 12 kilometers long. Mass readings indicate it's roughly the size of a small moon. Alina shook her head. "This has to be wrong. Humans don't have the technology or resources to build something this massive." But the message was confirmed by 3 separate Earth command channels. The EU's Prometheus was real, and it was coming. Estimated arrival time was 72 hours. Captain Marcus Chen had commanded the Prometheus construction project for 15 years. But he had never expected to take the ship into actual combat. The vessel had been built in the asteroid belt, far from prying eyes and curious aliens. Even most of Earth's government didn't know the true scope of what they had created. Marcus stood on the bridge of the Prometheus, watching the hyperspace tunnel collapse behind them as they dropped into normal space at the edge of the Galactic Union's territory. The bridge was massive, with workstations for over 200 crew members, but it felt intimate compared to the ship's true scale. The Prometheus was not just a battleship. It was a floating city, home to 50,000 humans and the most advanced technology Earth had ever produced. "Sir, we're receiving multiple hails from Galactic Union vessels," reported Communications Officer Sarah Kim. "They're requesting identification and tactical specifications. Tell them we're the Earth's response to their request for assistance," Marcus replied. "Full tactical data will be provided upon arrival at the staging area." Through the main view screen, Marcus could see the remnants of what had once been the Galactic Union's greatest fleet. Hundreds of ships from dozens of species, all that remained of civilizations that had ruled the galaxy for millennia. They looked small and fragile compared to the Prometheus. "Captain," called out Navigator James Wright, "long-range sensors are detecting massive energy signatures ahead. The void swarm is moving faster than the Union intelligence predicted." Marcus studied the tactical display. The enemy was a writhing mass of dark energy that seemed to bend space around itself. It covered an area roughly the size of a solar system, and was advancing toward the Union's final defensive line. "Time until contact with Union forces?" Marcus asked. 6 hours at their current rate of advance," Wright replied. Marcus activated the ship-wide communication system. "All hands, this is the captain. In 6 hours, we will engage an enemy that has destroyed civilizations far older and more advanced than our own. They have weapons we don't understand and abilities that defy known physics. But we are humans, and humans do not surrender. We do not give up when the odds are against us. We find a way to win." Battle stations throughout the Prometheus, 50. 1,000 humans prepared for a fight that would determine the fate of the galaxy. In the engineering sections, Chief Engineer Dr. Lisa Park monitored the quantum manipulation drives that allowed the massive ship to move as nimbly as a fighter craft. In the medical bays, doctors prepared for casualties that might number in the thousands. In the marine decks, Colonel David Torres readied his troops for possible boarding actions against an enemy made of pure energy. But it was in the weapons control centers where Earth's true innovation showed. The Prometheus carried weapons that existed nowhere else in the galaxy. Quantum disruptors that could tear holes in space-time itself. Reality anchors that could force energy beings back into normal matter. and most importantly, the Harmony Drive, a weapon system that could synchronize with the quantum frequencies of life itself. Elena Vasquez watched from the Union command ship as the Prometheus approached their formation. She had seen the technical specifications, but actually seeing the vessel was something else entirely. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time, its hull gleaming with an opalescent sheen that seemed to shift colors as it moved through space. "How did humans build something like that?" Zarian asked, his voice filled with wonder. "We're very good at keeping secrets when we need to," Elena replied. "And we're even better at building things that can break other things." The Prometheus took position at the front of the Union fleet, its massive bulk dwarfing even the largest alien dreadnoughts. Communications channels buzzed with questions from alien commanders who couldn't believe what they were seeing. "Union Fleet, this is Captain Chen of the UES Prometheus," came the transmission. "We're detecting the Void Swarm at extreme range. All ships are to maintain current positions and await further orders. Prometheus will engage first contact." "Captain Chen," Zarian transmitted back, "with respect, you are one ship against an enemy that has destroyed thousands. Perhaps a coordinated assault would be more effective." Marcus Chen's response was calm and confident. "Hi, Chancellor, humans. Have a saying, never tell me the odds. We didn't come here to follow conventional tactics. We came here to win." As if summoned by his words, the Void Swarm erupted into normal space at the edge of the system. The darkness spread across the stars like spilled ink, blotting out entire constellations. Energy discharges crackled through the void, each one powerful enough to vaporize a planet. The alien fleet commanders began issuing retreat orders, but Marcus Chen's voice cut through the chaos. "All Union ships, hold position. Prometheus is engaging." The massive Earth battleship moved forward alone, accelerating toward an enemy that had consumed half the galaxy. And for the first time in months, Elena Vasquez felt something she had almost forgotten. Hope, asterisk, when the battleship arrived. The Void Swarm sensed the approaching vessel and responded with the hunger of a cosmic predator. Tendrils of dark energy lashed out across space, each one carrying enough destructive force to crack a moon. The alien fleet watched in terror as these attacks struck the Prometheus dead on. The Earth battleship simply absorbed the energy and kept coming. "Impossible," whispered Zarian. "Nothing can withstand direct contact with void energy." Elena stared at her display screens, watching the Prometheus's shield readings. The ship wasn't just surviving the attack, it was converting the void energy into raw power for its own systems. "Captain Chen, how are you doing that?" Marcus Chen's voice came back steady and confident. "We spent 15 years studying every scrap of data about the Void Swarm. We learned that they're not actually destroying matter, they're converting it into a different kind of energy. Our shields are designed to reverse that process." Dr. Lisa Park worked frantically in the Prometheus's engineering section, monitoring the quantum conversion matrices that made their defense possible. The ship's shields didn't block the void attacks. They captured them and fed the energy back into the ship's power systems. It was technology that pushed the boundaries of known physics, developed through years of theoretical research and desperate innovation. "Captain, we're at 150% power capacity and climbing," she reported. "The more they attack us, the stronger we get." Marcus smiled grimly. "Then let's give them something to really attack. All weapon systems, prepare for pattern alpha. Assault." The Prometheus opened fire with weapons that had never been used in combat before. Quantum disruptors tore holes in space-time, creating temporary rifts that disrupted the Void Swarm's energy matrix. Reality anchors projected fields of normal physics into areas where the swarm tried to phase out of existence. Each shot forced portions of the enemy back into normal matter where conventional weapons could damage them. But the most devastating weapon was the Harmony Drive. Dr. Sarah Okafor had spent 10 years developing the theoretical framework for the Harmony Drive after studying reports of Void Swarm attacks. She realized that the entities weren't just energy beings. They were quantum parasites that fed on the life force of organic matter. The Harmony Drive projected the quantum signature of life itself, creating a frequency that was toxic to the void entities. Harmony Drive, charging, reported Weapons Officer, Lieutenant Tom Rodriguez. Target lock established on the swarm's central mass. Fire, Marcus ordered. A wave of pure life energy erupted from the Prometheus, spreading through space like a ripple in a pond. Where it touched the void swarm, the dark energy writhed and contracted as if in pain. Entire sections of the swarm began to collapse, their structure unable to maintain cohesion in the presence of the life frequency. The alien fleet commanders watched in amazement as the unstoppable enemy that had destroyed their civilizations began to retreat from a single human ship. "They're falling back," Alina whispered. "The Void Swarm is actually retreating." But Marcus Chen wasn't finished. "All Union ships, advance and engage. The enemy is vulnerable to conventional weapons. While they're disrupted by the Harmony Drive, this is our chance to end this." The battle that followed would be remembered as the turning point in the war against the Void Swarm. Union ships that had fled in terror for months suddenly found their weapons effective against an enemy that had seemed invincible. Laser cannons and particle beams, useless before, now tore through void entities that had been forced back into normal spacetime. Colonel David Torres led his Marines in boarding pods toward the largest concentration of void entities. The Marines wore specially designed armor that projected miniature harmony fields, protecting them from direct energy drain. What they found inside the void constructs amazed them. "Captain, you need to see this," Torres reported. "These aren't just energy beings. There's some kind of organic technology, like living ships made of condensed thoughts." Inside the void constructs, the Marines discovered vast organic computers that processed information through quantum consciousness. The entities weren't invaders from another dimension, they were refugees. Their own universe was dying, and they had been consuming galaxies to build enough processing power to find a new home. Dr. Helen Zhang, the Prometheus's xenobiologist, studied the data from the boarding teams. "Captain, I think we can communicate with them. They're not evil, just desperate. They've been trying to build a quantum computer large enough to calculate the location of a suitable universe for their species." Marcus made a decision that would change galactic history forever. Instead of destroying the remaining void entities, he ordered the Prometheus to establish communication protocols using the Harmony Drive as a translation matrix. The conversation that followed lasted only minutes, but it ended a war that had consumed half the galaxy. The void entities, calling themselves the architects of the deep, agreed to cease their consumption of matter in exchange for human assistance in finding a new universe. Earth's quantum physicists, working with Union scientists and the architects' vast computational abilities, began the greatest scientific project in galactic history, opening a stable gateway to a universe where the architects could exist without destroying organic life. The project took 6 months. When it was completed, the architects departed through the quantum gateway, taking with them the promise to share their advanced consciousness technology with the species they had nearly destroyed. Alina stood once again at the observation deck of the Galactic Union's central station, but this time she was watching stars being born instead of dying. The energy that the void swarm had absorbed from consumed systems was being released back into space, seeding new worlds and new possibilities. For life, your people have given us more than victory, Zarian said, joining her at the viewport. They have given us hope and a future we never imagined possible. Alina smiled, thinking of the reports coming in from across the galaxy. Human scientists were working with alien researchers to develop new technologies based on architect knowledge. Trade routes that had been closed for years were reopening. Species that had been on the brink of extinction were beginning to rebuild. That's what humans do, Alina replied. We find solutions where others see only problems. We build bridges where others see only walls. The Prometheus remained in orbit around the Union capital, no longer a weapon of war, but a symbol of cooperation between species. Captain Marcus Chen had been promoted to Admiral and tasked with leading the new Galactic Defense Initiative, a joint force designed to handle threats that no single species could face alone. But perhaps the most important change was in how the galaxy viewed humanity. No longer were humans seen as primitive newcomers living on the galactic rim. Earth had proven that innovation, determination, and the willingness to take risks could overcome even impossible odds. In the months that followed, human colonies spread throughout the galaxy, not as conquerors but as partners in rebuilding what had been lost. Human scientists, engineers, and explorers worked alongside alien colleagues to push the boundaries of knowledge and technology. The Void War, as historians would later call it, had ended not with the destruction of an enemy, but with the creation of new friends and possibilities. And at the center of it all was the lesson that humanity had taught the galaxy. Sometimes the impossible just needs someone brave enough to try making it possible. Years later, when young beings of dozens of species learned about the war that almost ended galactic civilization, they would remember the day when a single human battleship arrived at the darkest hour and lit up the heavens with hope. They would remember that humans don't just fight to win, they fight to find better solutions for everyone. And in the deep space monitoring stations that watched for new threats to galactic peace, human officers worked alongside alien colleagues, ready to face whatever challenges the universe might bring, because they had learned the most important lesson of all. When different species work together, combining their unique strengths and perspectives, they can overcome any obstacle. The arrival of humanity's battleship had indeed shaken the heavens, but not through destruction. It had shaken them through the radical idea that even the most desperate situations could be solved through courage, innovation, and the belief that tomorrow could be better than today. Asterisk.